Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Coy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to coyssoutherneats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
Well, welcome everybody to another edition of the Razorback Football Report with Otis Kirk. I'm your host, Jason Pattyson. Let me get kind of situated here with these banners here. So I'm going to bring Otis on here. Otis, how's it going, my man?
Going good. Yeah, it's going good. Yeah, just another loss. Disappointing. I mean, it was really an ugly loss yesterday.
Yeah, it really was. 34-22 to A&M yesterday, and it's almost getting to the point where this thing is getting out of control, like the and I hate to say it, like the Alabama series too, because
yeah,
you've lost now 11-12. You've lost 11-12 now.
And this is a team they dominated when they were in the Southwest Conference. I mean, Arkansas still leads the all-time series against A&M, and they're 1-11 since A&M joined the SEC. I mean, there's no reason for A&M to dominate like that. Now, I will say this: that is a very good A&M defense. Defense against the run. I don't know about the pass. Miami let them up pretty good, but their defense against the run is pretty dang good. It really is. I mean, it's going to be tough to run on A&M, I think. I mean, we'll see. I mean, but Arkansas just didn't give itself a chance. I mean, they've got some issues that Sam needs to fix. If they don't get them fixed, it's going to be a real long season. And, I mean, we'll see. I mean, the season is not going to be what anybody thought anyway. I get that. But, they lost 3 games in a row in 2021. They lost 3 games in a row in 2022. It still turned it around to somewhat, especially in 2021. They went 9-4. I mean, this team's not going to go 9-4, but I mean, they could. They've got to try to fix some things, some issues, and get it to the point, where you at least get to a bowl game. And people, I know scoff at a bowl game, but you got 4 home games still left on the schedule. You've got 2 wins. And I mean, Mississippi State, Auburn, Florida International, three or not. I mean, they're not. You can't look at those and say that's an automatic loss. If you're playing better, now they play like they played yesterday and like they have a lot of times this year, yeah, it will be a loss. I don't know so much about Florida International, but those SEC games. But it's amazing. They cleaned up the penalty. So they did fix one issue that we talked about. They fixed one issue that we've talked about, or I've talked about a lot. It's penalty. Penalties drive me crazy. And they fixed that. They didn't have a single penalty yesterday. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was pointed out or somebody pointed that out to me on the way home. I didn't even realize. I mean, I know Walcott got flagged. Fortunately, they didn't. They did overturn that stupid call because that was not targeting.
No, it wasn't. I feel like today our role in the comment section, Otis, is going to be more of a Dr. Phil meets Dr. Drew versus Judge Judy versus Judge Joe Brown. We're here to help. We're also here to make sure that the natives don't get crazy on us. But I feel like Sam at this point, that you remember the movie Vegas Vacation? Chevy Chase and his family, they go over to Hoover Dam, and he sees a leak, puts his finger on the leak. Another leak starts, gets some gum, puts it on that leak, and then another one springs. And before you know it, he's got 5 of them. I feel like that's what Sam's kind of going through right now.
Yeah. I mean, if I could tell fans one thing and get them to believe me, I would tell them, don't always assume new is better. I mean, just don't always assume new is better, and I'll leave it at that. But you just, I mean, it's they've got offensive line issues, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody was talking about KJ holding the ball too long. Yeah, he holds the ball occasionally too long. I mean, he's not perfect. Neither is Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, or anyone else. I mean, KJ's not the problem. He's the least of their problems.
Yeah.
KJ Jefferson is the least of their problems. I mean, but I mean, even the offensive line, I mean,
Otis, we talked about this right before we came on air about the play calling, and Stephen 1383 said, what's your guys' opinion on KJ's lack of ability to perform? O-line, new O, bad coaching from Enos, all the above, something I missed. I think it's kind of all of.
Well, I mean, you got 7 sacks, 15 tackles for loss. You figure out what the issue is. I mean, It's not complicated. I mean,
it's more elementary at this point.
I mean, the play calling is not putting KJ in a position to succeed. It's not putting the offensive line in a position to succeed. The play calling is predictable. And when the play calling is predictable, you're going to have look, no quarterback is going to perform behind an offensive line that in the offense yesterday. I mean, the guy's running for his life the whole game. I mean, basically the whole game, KJ's out there running for life. The quarterback's not going to perform. I mean, he's not a miracle worker. I mean, when you've got 7 sacks, Max Johnson was not sacked at all. You've got 15 tackles for loss. I mean, and when they line up in that shotgun on 4th and 1, and I'm not even hollering, go quarterback sneak. I mean, I'm wondering, why can you not line up under center, fake the handoff to the tailback, and throw deep and see what happens? Even if it's incomplete, they get the ball right there. I mean, everybody knows when they line up 4th and inches in the shotgun that KJ's going to hand it to the running back. I mean, that's not him calling that. I mean, everybody knows what's coming. And, I mean, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. We know what that's called. And it's also, it's not just that, it's also hard-headedness.
Yeah.
And part of that's on Sam. It's not all on Enos. Part of that's on Sam. Sam is hard-headed in the sense that, he's convinced to do it that way, and the results are not there. And, I mean, what's coming. Everybody knew on that 4th and inches. First place, I think they should have punted. If you'd have punted there, you would have backed them up. Look, you're not moving the ball. If you get a first down there, you still may not score. So what's the risk? I mean, punt them, be down 10-6 at the half, and then when Snacks intercepts that pass, starts third quarter, you're up 13-10. I mean, to me, Arkansas gave them a free touchdown there going for that 4th down. I thought they should have punted. I mean, if your offense is able to move, that's one thing. But even if they got the first down there, they'd probably ran 3 more plays and then had to punt. Jason, I mean, I didn't see, but everybody knew. Everybody in that stadium knew when they lined up. They called timeout, came back out. They lined up the shotgun. Everybody knew Rocket Sanders was getting that ball.
Yep. This is what Sam had to say about the short yardage situations yesterday.
Just felt very confident about our short yardage. We had a really nice game plan. I thought we'd make it. We just didn't. No, not really. I mean, once he gets under center, the front on the defense is certainly going to change. Not really. We just felt, honestly, if we felt better about him sneaking, we would do that.
That came courtesy of ArkansasRazorbacks.com.
Yeah.
So
why do you have to sneak? Why can you not fake a handoff and throw out of that? I mean, there's things you can do besides sneak. You don't have to just sneak it there. And confident in your game plan. What makes you confident? What has they done in that situation to make him confident? I don't. to me, that's why I said earlier, I'm not putting it all on the O-line or, part of it's hard-headedness from Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I love the guy, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
hard-headedness. He's convinced he's going to do it his way. And if it was working, that's one thing, but it's not working. And it's not going to work. The next game, when they're 4th and inches and they go for it and they hand the Rocket or AJ or Rashad, it's not going to work. If it does, yeah, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're at that point yet, Otis, with what Jermaine McCollum said or Jeremy McCollum with Sam truly on the hot seat. I don't think it's hot. I think that somebody just turned the oven on though, or the stovetop though.
Yeah,
I really do.
I would have said no way till that game yesterday, but I don't think he's on the hot seat. I think it's just. I think he's made some decisions that are coming back and biting him in the butt. And there's no, like I said, like I wrote this morning, he's got some tough decisions to make.
We haven't. I mean, it's not out of the ordinary for Arkansas to make a coaching change during the season. We've seen that in the past before. I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm not going to put it out of the realm of reason as well, because I think that's what everybody's so exasperated about, is that you saw that they were starting to trend in one way, and then yesterday they started on that backheel slide again, and you saw them regress. And I think that's what, as fans, you kept believing in what Sam was saying, because you were seeing that product on the field, and now that product is going backwards, and that's not what everybody was expecting.
I'll be honest with you. That game yesterday was Chad Morris-like performance. I'm just serious. It was a Chad Morris type performance, and we know how that ended up. They've got to get it together, and like I said, I'll say it again. He's got some tough decisions to make, and and if he doesn't make, I mean, how he handles those situations is going to determine a lot of things. And, I mean, just bad football right now. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for the fans, frustrating to cover it. I mean, I drive to Dallas. That drive home yesterday was about like the one from Fort Collins, Colorado, when they played Colorado State up there. It was a shorter trip. I mean, the only difference with Fishman, the only difference of Bielema 2.0, only thing I disagree on, Bielema's a better recruiter. I mean, Pittman's a better recruiter than Bielema. Yeah. Bielema's Chad Morris, for all the crap he takes from Arkansas fans, left it a lot better than he inherited it. I mean, when he got there wasn't hardly any offensive linemen. Bielema left it in a bad shape. I mean, he just left it in a bad shape. And Chad left the situation better than he inherited it for his talent. But Pittman's a better recruiter than Brett was, and his puts more emphasis with his staff on recruiting than Brett did. But that's the results on the field are, we can compare those, but it's not completely 2.0 because Sam puts more emphasis on recruiting than that. So we'll see. I mean,
our guy, great friend of the show, Greg Thomas, our former QB1 here. O-line are catching the defensive lineman, not firing off and latching on and drive blocking. That's exactly what's been happening now for two for sure of the last 3 weeks. We saw a little bit of a progression last week, but then it's like they kind of fell back into that old way between Kent State and also with BYU. They're just letting guys fall into them and then just kind of manhandle them. And that's
maybe we gave them too much credit for LSU because their defense is not very good, man. I mean,
oh my God, yeah.
Looked them up yesterday. I didn't see it, obviously. I'm driving to Fayetteville, but LSU has surprised me how bad their defense is. I'm not going to lie to you. Their secondary is horrendous.
It is.
But I did watch drive blocking against LSU a little bit, like you said. But yeah, I mean, I saw none of that yesterday. Kent State was BYU. I mean, but just got to yeah. I mean, but I mean, I get people messing me about KJ. Listen, KJ is the least of their problems, people. I mean, you're running for your life back there. Greg knows this. When you take a snap and you're already got people coming at you, on you before you can even set up the throw, how's that on a quarterback? I mean, come on.
No.
I mean, it's easy to blame the quarterback. I know it's easy. He gets a lot of the credit when they win and gets a lot of the blame when they lose, but I'm telling you, you're marking up the wrong tree on this one. KJ's not the issue. Does he hold the ball too long occasionally? Yeah. But I mean, when they give him time to throw, good things usually happen with KJ.
It does. Mr. Bloodline says Sam has to fire Cody Kennedy, which is his buddy, and it's hard for him to do, but that's what needs to be done. I've seen teams with less on an O-line do more.
I don't think the talent's as bad as people think it is on the offensive line. I really don't. I'm not telling you they've got all SEC caliber offensive linemen, but what I don't understand on the offensive line, they put Marion Harris in last year at right guard in the bowl game against Kansas, and they scored a lot of points, moved the ball. And this year it just disappeared. It's like you stick a freshman in there at right guard and he plays. I don't know how he graded out, but all I know is Kansas wasn't on KJ ever play like they are this year. And you can't find a place for Marion Harris. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know. They've got some strange substitute choice of who plays at times. I'm not just talking about the offensive line, but yeah, it's just but I don't know, man. I honestly, and I get what he's saying about firing Cody Kendi, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If the play calling doesn't change, I don't know how much that would help.
No, and one of the things that I was even thinking about, and I honestly was kind of, I went off in La La Land and was thinking about some of the craziest scenarios that you could have, some of the most predictable scenarios that you could have. I mean, I was sitting there looking at, okay, say for instance, if Sam says, you know what, Dan, this isn't working, we're going to step back from you. Who on that staff are they going to bring on to start calling plays? I mean, is it a Kenny Guyton? Is it Sam himself? I mean, who's going to fill those shoes?
I don't think they've got anybody, but I know Sam to me is part of the problem too. I mean, I'm convinced he's the one that's so hard-headed that he does that 4th and 1 from the shotgun, and he's hard-headed on that, and I think that's as much on Sam as it is Enos. Yeah, I think Sam's pretty hard-headed. He's convinced to do it his way. As a head coach, you've got the right to do that, but you better realize that you if it's not working, you're going to get you're going to have to answer for it as the head coach.
Yeah. I know Steven 1383. He's getting some run today. He's making some great points, though. Enos was could be moving the pocket too. We didn't see a single bootleg or rollout yesterday. Right. No, we didn't. We also didn't see AJ Green. We did 1 carry for 5 yards. Yeah, Other than that,
he had those 3 carries for 63 yards. He got 6 carries later. Then they went with the hot hand the next week with DeBinion, and then yesterday it was mostly Rocket and DeBinion. Yeah, AJ. All he did was, and he got 5 yards yesterday a carry. All he's doing is averaging about 5, 6, 7 yards a carry, and he can't get to play. I mean, figure that one out. I've never figured it out. I mean, it's like they're convinced DeBinion is the guy, and he ran well against LSU. He ran well in the Liberty Bowl, but what else is he? I mean, oh well. But I mean. Well, one thing yesterday, they did do some moving the pocket and rolling out and stuff against LSU. One thing yesterday, I don't know if they had time. I mean, they just pinned their ears and came after them yesterday. And even there was times when KJ got the ball and they were already on him. I mean, I don't know. Yesterday was just a disaster. It was a complete disaster all the way around. And
it was a disaster from that very first series because that's when you saw Luke Has go down.
Jason. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, predictable play calling. They threw one pass in the second quarter. One pass. And so you cannot do that. You've got – if you can't run the ball, why are you just continuously trying to – I mean, just continuously doing it on one first down, second down, third down. I mean, it's like stubbornness. I mean, it really is. Hard-headed, stubborn. Yeah. It's like we can do this and we're going to do it this way, and it's not working. And I mean – I don't know, man. I just think at some point Sam's got some decisions to make, and how he handles those is going to depend on with him. I mean, I mean, it was, I mean, they can still rebound. I mean, people saying they can't come back this season, they can rebound and have they can have an average season. I mean, they lost 3 games in a row in 2021. They lost 3 games in a row last year, and they both went to bowl games and won them. And, I mean, they've got 2 and 3. No matter what happens at Ole Miss, no matter what happens at Alabama, you've got 4 home games left. If you don't do anything but win those, you're talking about Auburn, Mississippi State, Missouri, and Florida International. I know not in that order, but you've got those 4 left at home. If you win those 4, you're 6-6. You're going to a bowl game, and a bowl game's better than nothing. I mean, it's. They're not going to – that's about the best you can hope for this year with this team. I mean, about the best you can hope for is a bowl game. But they're going to have to win, and that – it might sneak up on Florida down there. I don't know. I doubt it, but they might. But I don't think Florida's a very good team. But then again, I mean, neither is Arkansas right now.
Yeah, so Tonka Todd makes a good point here, and Otis, this is right in your wheelhouse too. Is there many O-line recruits in this next cycle's recruiting?
Yeah, I mean they've got linemen from Lexington. They've got they got the kid from Fort Smith Southside. So I mean, and then you got the kid from North Carolina who was committed to Stanford. So you've got 3 offensive linemen committed. And then you've got Bear McWhorter committed for 2026, who's a stud. I mean, big time stud. So yeah, I mean, they're again. They do have some offensive linemen coming. I still don't think the guys that they've got are as bad as everybody thinks they are. I'm not sitting there telling you they've got 5 all SEC players on that offensive line. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they got 1. What I'm saying is I don't think the talent is as bad as people think it is. I just think there's some factors that's making it appear that they're worse than what they are. I mean, if you'd never watched Arkansas football, only watched this year, and you saw KJ, you probably think he's not that good a quarterback. We know better than that,
Yeah.
I'll argue with anybody on that. And so, but there's factors go into making a person not look as good as he is. And I don't think the offensive linemen are bad. I don't know why. I don't know why they're not operating better. I expected issues with that offensive line. In fact, I said it on here. I thought they would come out slow, start the season, and gradually get better. And they're not gradually getting better. So I can't explain. I mean, I've got idea on what's going on, but I can't say for sure because I don't know. I can't say first as a fact, hey, they're just not playing hard for Kendi, or they're not playing hard for Pittman, or they're not doing this or that, doing that. I don't know exactly what's in their head, so it's going to be interesting. But but I'm telling you, but I will say, and I'm telling you, I said before, predictable play calling makes everybody look average, and they've got to do something about it. They've got to get out of that predictable play calling. And that's a
heck. Even Houston Nutt fell on that sword too. Houston Nutt even fell on that sword towards the end of his tenure at Arkansas too. That was one of the things that really a lot of people harped on him about.
Yeah. I mean, you get predictable with your play calling. I mean, people know what's coming. And I'm telling you, he seems like A&M with these 5-star defensive linemen they've got all the way across the line. They're going to come after you with that predictable play calling. And there was no imaginary yesterday on the play call. And Enos loves that pass out to the sideline instead of throwing down the field. I mean, it's just, I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, but like I said, I'm not going to have people blaming KJ because he's
no.
So
Shadim
he ran well. Dominion ran well in the LSU game. Really, other than that, he has not run that well this year. He did in the Liberty Bowl, and he did in the LSU game. But other than that, AJ's outplayed him, but he don't get to play as much.
Yeah, and Mustafa made a good point here too. He says he absolutely cannot pass block, and I have seen where Dominion has missed the read and went opposite, and instead of picking up the guy, he was helping Chip instead.
Yeah.
And that makes a world of difference because that limits KJ on what he's able to read, also to react to. So that's the difference of throwing the ball out at 1.5 seconds versus at 3 to 3.5 seconds, and giving his guys at least some time to develop a 5 or a 10-yard route.
Rocket missed one too yesterday, 1 or 2, and almost got KJ killed back there. Rocket missed a block or 2 as well on Reed. So they're I like I said earlier, it's not just a running back, but there's a lot of positions where I don't understand exactly the rotation. I mean, Zach Williams had 5.5 sacks last year at defensive end. He's not even hardly playing this year. I mean, people are not, those guys ahead of him, I mean, they had no sacks yesterday. Arkansas didn't.
No, I saw Landon Jackson. He had one good bolt there across the backfield.
They're not bringing back Bobby Petrino. They're not bringing back Bobby Petrino. It's not happening. So, I mean,
we're not Louisville.
They're not bringing back Bobby Petrino. You might just you might as well forget that one. I mean, it's not happening. He's got baggage, and I love Bobby. I like him, and I never wanted them to fire him, but they're not bringing him back. That's not an option.
No, it's not. Oh, let's see. So, it's really hard also for KJ whenever he loses his top target, which he lost, Luke has, in that first series of the game. And when you have a guy of his caliber that's starting to finally blossom, he's getting some momentum, he's getting some rhythm in the offense, and then he falls, he breaks his clavicle. That also that hinders some of the play calling of what Dan Enos is going to have to try to do. But as far as calling goes, but I still don't think that he's maximizing that potential, because whenever you have one guy go down, it should be a next guy steps up. And I feel like he's not given the wide receiver core that chance, because, I mean, you got 6'4", 6'5", or 6'4", 6'4", and 6'7", and they're fast. They're not slow. So I don't understand.
You've got Bartise Gumbs at tight end. It caught 37 passes at North Texas last year. You got Ty Washington, who caught the touchdown pass. Luke may be the best player on the football team the way he was playing. Luke may absolutely be the best player on that team. Probably not, but he could be. You can make an argument for Luke being the best player on that team. So it hurts to lose him. But when you lose somebody, they're not there. So what you got to do, you've got to get. I mean, Bartise Gumbs has done it at North Texas. And Ty Washington is a good tight end. You've just got to get them ready and play them and maximize them. I mean, but you got to get the ball to them. But, and we'll see. Because, I mean, Bartise Gumbs didn't forget to play. And I'm not sitting there telling you when you play at North Texas, it's the same as playing at Arkansas against SEC competition. I get all that. I fully get that. But I'm just telling you, the kid was a freshman All-America. He didn't forget to play in a few times he's been at Arkansas.
No.
I mean, they've got, but they have no point. I mean, they have no choice now, I guess is the word. You got to get Gumbs and Ty ready to play, and I think they'll play.
Yeah.
They're not as good as Luke, but neither is most tight ends. I was talking to DJ after the game. Well, during the game yesterday, we went down to the field, and I mean, DJ agreed with me. I think that I think Luke's going to be a Mackey Award winner.
Oh yeah,
before he leaves here. He's not. I had predicted freshman All-America. He's probably not now since he got hurt so early, but he would have been. He would have been a freshman All-America, and yeah, I think if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a Mackey Award winner.
Yeah, that's one of the
Like
things you
AJ
saw
was,
also.
like Henry.
Yeah, you saw Nudie McLaughlin yesterday. He got a concussion, and then
John Morgan III got hurt.
John Morgan.
I think he's going to be okay. I think he said last night he would be back soon.
Okay.
I didn't see anything in the media about, Pittman's presser. I think Manny Powell got hurt on a return. It looked like his knee, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it looked like Manny Powell got hurt. They helped him off the field. Maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked at the time. And then you had Luke, and you had somebody
Dwight.
else.
Nudie got the concussion.
Yeah. Oh, the receiver, Dozier.
Okay.
He got hurt, maybe a concussion or something. Oh, Landon Jackson hurt his ankle too. That was the one. Yeah, Landon Jackson turned his ankle, but he seemed to think after the game he'd be okay.
Yeah, he seemed fairly confident. I was listening to the press conference, and he seemed fairly confident that if by Monday come, he's going to be right back on the practice field, ready to go. So I mean,
yeah,
he's that type of gamer that he's going to go through, try to fight through any injury that he can to make sure that he's on the field. Otis, we had also talked about before, or as the show started, that it was going to be kind of a Judge Judy versus Judge Joe Brown thing, making sure that, I understand that y'all have got some, I'm not going to say they're emotional responses, because you guys have had almost 24 hours or right at 24 hours to kind of digest everything that's happened. And that's the thing, because I'm seeing comments on here, and I get it. Y'all are pissed. I got comments over here, Otis, from folks wanting to have Yurachek sit beside not you, Sam on the plane ride back, saying you got one game left, to bringing Brett back, to bringing Bobby back. I mean, it seems like as something like
you say
this,
bring Brett back, you lost me right there. I mean,
oh, me too. You lost me, yeah. Same with me too, because I'm being honest with you.
John L. Smith, Brett Bealham was what started this downslide. Then Chad, then they have
Chad just finished it off. Honestly,
yeah. Since Bobby Trino got fired, this program has been going back to the 9-4 that that Sam had, but
yeah, and they did fire Brett.
They didn't fire him during the season. They fired him at the end of the Missouri game, the last game of the season. Right after he went off the field, they fired him at the Missouri game. Mm-hmm. His last game here was the end of the season. They didn't go to a bowl game, so no, they didn't fire him during the season. He was fired at the end of the season, right after the Missouri game, just as he went off the field. They fired him.
And Chad was fired actually before the season ended, because Barry took over for him at Missouri.
He was fired after 10 games his second year. He was fired the day after the Western Kentucky game, which, we knew that was coming. I mean, that was a disaster, but,
I think Steven 1383 Otis is going to be your new best friend. Brett B can float down the river for all I care.
He's not going to be back at Arkansas, my guys.
No,
people.
No.
He went 1-7 his last year here in the SEC. He left the talent level low. Come on. And look, I'm one of Bobby's biggest fans. They're just not going to hire him. There's too much. There's just too much there. They're not going to do it. It's not happening.
Yeah,
so there's no use sitting there and wasting your time putting out scenarios where Bobby Petrino comes back, because I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. It's just not. And whether you want it to or I want it to, I didn't want him fired. It doesn't matter. They're not hiring him, so there's no point in going. There's a reason Bobby is the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M right now. We all know he's a great coach, but there's a reason he's not a head coach. We know there's a reason. There was a reason he was the head coach at Missouri State, people. I mean, there was a reason he took that offensive coordinator job at UNLV. Who would have hired Barry Odom over Bobby Petrino? There was a reason Bobby was an assistant. I'm just telling you, people, they're not rewinding the history. It's not happening. So there's no point in us wasting time on that. It's just not. It's not happening.
So, Otis, really quick, I know that you had went on Picture Nation to do your weekly recruiting update. Is there any recruiting update that we can get from you also with a incoming freshman for next year, or guys that are still on the radar?
Well, Tevis Metcalf was good enough to come on the show with me today.
Oh, awesome.
TJ's younger brother, and Tevis was on there, and we talked about KJ Jackson. We talked about Kavion Henderson, Charlie Collins, and he's excited about the class. It's a good class. He said they all got good chemistry together. They got a group chat, and Arkansas. Like I said, they got Bear McWhorter and Tay Lockett for 2026. You got Grayson Wilson. You've got Marcus Wimberly, and you've got the running back out of St. Louis for 2025. So they're recruiting, and it's just gonna, they've got. You got to start putting a better product on the field, though. It's going to catch up with you in your recruiting eventually if you don't put a better product on the field. If they were void of talent, that would be one thing. No, there's been no decommits. No. They have a lot. Not publicly anyway. And I don't know of a private decommit. I don't mean to make it sound like when I say not publicly, I'm just saying if any kid's decommitted, he hadn't went public with it. And I don't know of anyone that has. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Not saying I don't know, but I'm just saying I don't know of anybody right now, but no one has gone public and said, I'm not coming.
What I've noticed too is that with the last couple of classes that Arkansas has had, regardless if they are, at 6-6 or they're starting to have a little bit of a subpar season like this season has started, the guys that he had on board already, they're solid regardless of what happens. They're not just, okay, well, they're not having a great season. I'm going to go somewhere else. They're not flailing in the wind going back and forth. Like the guys that he has are pretty solid on their commitment and making sure that, hey, you know what? Just because you guys are having a bad season doesn't mean that I'm just going to completely flip-flop on you.
Well, part of the reason for that is Sam recruits great kids. He recruits great character. Those kids I've had on the show, kids like Courtney Crutchfield, Charlie Collins, Tevis Metcalf, Grayson Wilson, Wimberly, Kane Archer. Those are good kids that he recruits. And so they've got good character. They're not sitting out here, getting in trouble and stuff for the most part. So, that's one reason you see the staying power because Bear McWhorter, those are good kids. Tay Lockett. So, and I'm not saying somebody won't decommit. It's always possible in this day and age.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to see like a mass exit just because they're not having a good season,
No. And Otis, there was somebody, I think it was Stephen 1383. He's asking for your official position on this. I'm going to bring it up really quick. Oh, hold on. That wasn't the one. There it is. Sorry. Mr. Bloodline is who it was. He wants to know if you think that Dan Enos was a bad hire.
It serves no purpose for me to answer that. That wouldn't have been who I would have hired. I'll leave it at that.
All right. That's your answer, Mr. Bloodline. So
I don't think it's my job to call somebody a bad hire. If I was Sam Pittman, I would not have hired Dan Enos. I hope that answers your question.
That's
why I say don't always assume the new is better than the old, because when he was hired, everybody was talking about Kendall Brown. Oh, man. I'm telling you, Kendall Brown, as I said on this show over and over, was a good offensive coordinator. He had some weird calls, and he'd leave you scratching your head on some weird calls. But for the most part, he was a good offensive coordinator. So I don't know that. but I'll just leave it. That wouldn't have been who I would have hired. I'll leave it at that.
So I'm going to try to put this conversation we've been having, because I know that everybody's been pretty out and down about this whole, game yesterday. I'm going to try to put a positive.
That was ugly, man. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not downgrading anybody or getting on to them because they were upset about that. That was an ugly, bad performance. Like I said, it ranked up there with that Colorado State game. It ranked up there with
Western
Texas
Kentucky.
game. Yeah, Western. I mean, it ranked up there with a lot of them, and that was an ugly, bad performance yesterday. And I can say people should be upset. I'm not scolding people because they're upset or taking shots at them. I'm just saying that.
No.
I fully get it. Believe me, I cover the team. I mean, I have to cover this team. So, I mean, I fully get your frustration. It's not exactly fun for me to get 1 hour sleep and go out and cover a game and then have to write stories and then drive to Fayetteville after that. I mean, it's not exactly thrilling to me, but, so I get it. I'm not getting on to people saying, you should be happy. And no, I fully get the frustration, Jason. I 100% get it.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of frustration, you saw KJ yesterday frustrated with the offensive line. Johnny Jones said it looked like he was giving up, and all you could see was him cussing the offensive line. He was not giving up. That I want you guys to know that. And I know Greg Thomas can even back me up on this. Yeah. He was not giving up. He was trying to fire those guys up to get them to play better. Because
KJ's not giving up. He's never given up.
No.
But he had a right to be mad at those guys. They were about to get him killed yesterday. I'm telling you, they were on him many times before he even got the ball to put it in a throwing position to throw the ball. They were already on him. I'm just telling you, man. I mean, KJ's not the problem, man. He didn't quit on anybody. KJ's out there fighting. I'll put it this way. If everybody on that team did their job like KJ does his, they wouldn't be 2-3 right now.
No, that's his job as a leader on the team too, is to get in those guys' face. It doesn't matter offense or defense for that matter. If he feels that they're underperforming and he knows their potential, he is going to get in your face, because that's why he's got that C on his chest, because he's the captain and it's all on him to help fire those guys up along with the coaching staff.
Anybody don't think Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Mahomes, and those guys would get on them out if they were getting killed like he was yesterday? If you don't think Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or whoever would be on those offensive linemen, you're crazy people. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, he had every right to be upset yesterday. I mean, that was a frustrating. I get it. I mean, but KJ didn't quit.
Let's put this into a positive spin, because I feel like we've been in the doldrums on this for a little bit now. Last night I watched LSU Ole Miss, and I'm going to tell you what, there was a leaking sieve at Vaught Hemingway Stadium last night. It was on both defensive sides too, because like you noted earlier, LSU's pass defense was horrendous. Arkansas exposed that. Lane Kiffin's offense exposed that last night with the last second touchdown. Well, not last second, last minute or two to win 55-49. And look at it the other way too. Lane Kiffin's defense gave up 49 points to Jaden Daniels that only scored 31 on Arkansas last week.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty good about us going with the Razorbacks going into Vaught Hemingway next week and giving them everything that they can handle, because I feel like that there is going to be some, talks amongst the staff and making sure that, hey, we can't we can't lay another egg like this like we did yesterday. They know that. They're not stupid. They know that they cannot do that. And I think that you're going to see I know that people think I may be insane for saying this, but I think you'll see some progression next week.
I would feel a lot better about Arkansas's chances if Luke was playing, but there again, I mean, I watched Varkey's in practice when the limited chances we've had. I've watched Ty Washington last year and this year, saw him in the bowl game catch that touchdown. I think they're adequate, but I mean, you've still got Andrew Armstrong, you've got Isaac Tesla, you've got Slaw. I mean, you've got, Isaiah Satana needs to play more. Brockett had a good catch or two yesterday. Had one good catch and a good run. He had two. I think he had two catches. One of them was a pretty good run he made out of that. So, I mean, KJ's got some weapons even without Luke. That hurts. But yeah, I mean, A&M's defense is. I'm sorry, Ole Miss's defense is not their strength of the team. Arkansas should have some success. I know their defensive linemen are nowhere near as good as A&M. I'm telling you, people. I think A&M's secondary's got some issues. Miami exposed that. Arkansas couldn't expose it because of various reasons. But I do think that. But Ole Miss's defensive line is not near as good as A&M's. I mean, that A&M defensive line is sprinkled with 5 stars all the way across just about. I'm telling you, they got a ton of talent on that defensive line. Now, their secondary, somebody will expose it like Miami did, but it wasn't. Arkansas wasn't capable of doing it. But I think Arkansas can hurt Ole Miss through the air. I could see that being I mean, that's usually what it turns into when Arkansas plays Ole Miss. I mean, it was 52-51 or 51-50 or something down there 2 years ago.
52-51.
Last year was a shootout. I mean, Arkansas got a big lead, and then
exactly
back. Arkansas still won by a couple of touchdowns. I mean, both teams will score some points Saturday night. I mean, you better because I'm telling you, Ole Miss will score some points on you. You better match them, and you know the big thing is Arkansas gets in that red zone. The last 4 trips down there, they have not scored a touchdown. They got to get touchdowns in the red zone. I mean, they get there again. The play calling gets predictable when they get in that red zone, and you better straighten out some. They've got things they better straighten out. If they do, then they can change. I mean, Ole Miss. None of these teams are unbeatable. I mean, these are not like super teams they're playing. They're good. Ole Miss is good. Alabama's good.
Yeah.
Auburn's good. Mississippi, they're all good, but they're not like they're not like super teams, man.
No, and, I was looking at Ole Miss's stats for the season so far going into next week. What I found quite interesting going to the LSU game, Ole Miss's leading rusher was not Quinshon Junkins. It was Jackson Dart. Now after last night, Junkins is the leading rusher for Ole Miss now, but you see where Lane kind of goes. I think he's going to cause some mismatches, or he's going to try to hang 70 on Arkansas next Saturday, and that's one of the things that T. Will and Coach Woodson are going to have to game plan is to making sure that they're able to keep containment in that front 7.
Yeah. Well, if he hangs 70, you got to hang 71 on them. I mean,
that's the truth.
I mean, that's what you got to do. You've got to get creative with play calling against Ole Miss. Well, all the teams. Yeah. But I mean, we'll talk about Ole Miss because that's the next game. But you got to get creative. You can't be hard-headed, predictable, stubborn. You call it what you want. But I've seen some hard-headed, stubborn decisions made over there, and I don't even know if it's all Leno's. I think part of it's Sam. I really do. I think Sam he gets defensive on the questions about fourth and short and out of the shotgun. He gets all defensive on that. And I mean,
O-line, you name it. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets defensive, and I think he's trying to prove that he's right and people are wrong. I mean, who cares who's right and who cares who's wrong? Bottom line is
the damn ball game. Period. End story.
Bottom line is you fix it because it's not the reporters asking the questions. It's not the fans that's calling that messaging here. It's not them. It's going to be judged by the record. It's going to be Sam. So I mean, it's his job to fix it. It's not my job. And I mean, not that I could, but I'm just saying. I mean, blame who you want, but it's the bottom line. At the end of the day, at the end of the season, the buck's going to stop with Sam.
Yep.
And I don't know if he's too conservative. I don't know if he's too conservative. I don't think he is. I think he's too stubborn at times, if that makes sense. I mean, it seemed like, I didn't think they were conservative like against LSU.
Yeah.
I didn't see them being conservative. Yesterday, I didn't think they had a chance to be conservative or not. Sorry, they just got whipped so bad. But maybe he's too conservative. I don't know. I don't really think that's the problem as much as just some of the decisions they're making in certain situations. I'm not going to say I'd say like going into the game, they're not going to win because he's too conservative. I won't say that because I don't think that's the case. There may be situations where he gets too conservative, but it's situations, not just Sam as a whole being too conservative. If that makes sense. He's not. That's not the problem as much as just the decision making in certain situations. I mean, like I said, 4th and inches, 4th and 1. Everybody knows they're going to be in a shotgun, and they're probably going to hand it to the running back. And I don't know if you can call that conservative if you want. Maybe it is. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that I think that's some of the decision making is more of a problem. I'm not going to sit here and say when they go to Ole Miss, they're going to be too conservative to win the game. See, I don't think that. I really don't believe that. I don't think it's going to be because they're too conservative. So I'd say no to that, but maybe instances, maybe that's what it is. I tend to think it's more being stubborn, hard-headed, maybe conservative. I don't know what you call it, but probably at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. But I just think I don't think he's too conservative. I don't think.
Yeah, see, here's my thing, and I don't think the conservative, I think, might be the right word for that because, and I think you're right on the whole situational part because I'm gonna support your statement here real quick because if they would have come out yesterday in that first series, and they would have been run pass. Yeah. They were not because they were picking up. Well, they might have been towards in that first series, but they were able to capitalize on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, and 3rd and 17, if I'm not mistaken. And they were moving the ball. And then that's when Luke Has got hurt. And then everything changed. But to say that they were too conservative means that they would not have been taking shots down the field on 3rd and long. They would have been throwing 5-yard outs, 5-yard crosses, 6-7-yard crosses, saying that they could try to get guys in space to make up that difference between where they caught it in the first down line. So that to me tells me that KJ is looking for guys down the field. He is. He's just not either finding them in time because of the progressions, or he just doesn't have enough time to pass the damn ball in the first place.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah, I don't think being too conservative is the issue. I think it's more just one of the things that we've talked about for the last 45 minutes. I think it's more that than being conservative. Yeah.
Yep. Well, Otis, I'm going to get you out of here, my man. I think we've beat the horse dead at this point.
He's died, man. No hide left.
Well, y'all so tomorrow, a little bit of a programming update. So tomorrow I'm going to have Dudley on. So he is actually at baseball right now. They got started a little late. So him and I are going to come on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on here. And then on Thursday, I've got Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. He's going to be joining me at 10:30 on Thursday of this coming week. So, and him and I will preview Arkansas Ole Miss a little bit and try to get from a more of a national perspective, a little bit of a different angle, also from an outside point of view. So I'm going to have him on too as well.
Thursday night or Thursday morning at 10:30?
Thursday morning. Sorry. Oh my God. I think he'd even object to that.
I'm gonna say that's the late show.
No, so Thursday morning at 10:30. And also Arkansas does kick off against Ole Miss at 6:30. Did they announce if that's on ESPN or SEC
Network?
SEC Network. Okay.
Yeah. I hate.
All right. Well, y'all.
Kickoffs. I hate them. I hate 6:30 kickoffs.
Yeah, because you're up trying to not try to nod off from sleep and trying to write, making sure.
Sleeping part with me. I mean, I don't sleep that early, but it's the just getting finished working at 1 or 1:30 just gets old. I mean, it gets old real fast. It was 1:30 for the BYU game. It was 1 o'clock or about 12:30 for the LSU.
Yeah,
and then yesterday being in Dallas, it was 10:30 when I got back. So it's just late. And that was with 11 a.m. kickoff. So, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, I want to thank you all for jumping on. And
You're welcome.
no,
Mr. Bloodline.
I saw that too. I had to put that on there. That would make me chuckle a little bit because I mean, honestly, we all needed a little chuckle after yesterday because.
Well, believe me, I know why everybody's frustrated. Get me? I mean, I completely get it. I'm not arguing with anybody that you shouldn't be because you should be. I mean, I'm frustrated. I have to cover it. It's my job. I mean, it's frustrating to just cover bad. I said yesterday, I asked John, I said, or a couple other people, I said, we ever going to get covering good football again? I mean, it's bad football, man. I mean, it gets old. It really does. I get it. Believe me, I fully get it.
You know, it could always be worse. We could also cover Vanderbilt. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. At least they don't get their expectations up real high to start with. Like I thought they were going 8-4 this year, and I really did, and still think they should have. But I mean, they're not going to go 8-4. They might not go 4-8 if they don't change it, turn it around.
Yeah, that could be a very interesting off season if that happens. So, all right, well, everybody, I want to thank you all for jumping on with us, joining us, putting your frustrations, your vents, everything out there in your opinions and comments. For Otis Kirk and for Jason, my host, your host, Jason Pattyson. Holy cow, I can't even talk now. We all take care for Hogville.net YouTube Lives, the Razorback Football Report with Otis Kirk. Y'all take care.
Thanks for jumping on, people. Appreciate you. All of you, man.